Well, good morning. My name is Amol Nirgudkar. I'm the CEO of Patient Prism, and I'm here again this week with Dr. John Meis. It goes by Dr. John. And we're talking about all sorts of things that are relevant to our industry right now, from HR to the PPP loans to, communicating better insurance stuff. And as we've got this unique time in this month to really look inside of our businesses and make sure that we're doing whatever we can do right now to stay engaged with our team members, stay engaged with our patients, and get ready to start back up, hopefully sooner than later. As you guys know, if you haven't seen Dr. John before, he is an international speaker, a two-time best-selling author on Amazon, obviously a dentist, and no longer a wet finger dentist, but a dentist. And he's got two amazing companies he helps dental practices through. The Spark Dental Network is really helps medium to small to medium sized groups kind of help scale and figure out those problems. And the Team Training Institute that you may have heard of actually helps practices improve productivity, profitability, and achieve kind of peace of mind, which all of us need really badly these days. Dr. John, welcome to another episode with Patient Prism.
Yeah, Amol, it's great to be here. It's always great to be with you. You and your team do such a great job on these videos. It's really a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. And we've done many topics before. Today I wanted to really talk about how do we stay in touch with our team? And it's important, right? I mean, we are under stress, but our team is also under stress. We have assistants, front office, hygienists, office managers. All of them are sitting home wondering what to do, and they should be obviously. It is my hope that we're staying in touch with them as doctors. You are in a lot of Facebook groups, so am I. And, sometimes you hear all sorts of interesting communication that happens on those groups, some positive, some negative, some really crazy. What are you hearing about team communication? What's going on? What's the Facebook group vibe right now?
Yeah, so these Facebook groups, I'm sure everybody's on some of them. And like you said, there's some really great stuff on there. There's some really, really horrible stuff on there. And there's some crazy stuff on there. And some of them are a place that people go to vent. And so in watching these Facebook groups, one of the things that I've seen that I'm concerned about, and all of us should be concerned about, is the amount of disruption this has been in our team's life. Many of us have a lot of younger team members. This may be the very worst thing that's ever happened to them in their whole life. And so what I've seen that has created the most anger, and I mean anger, four-letter words spouting capital letters, everything, is lack of communication from the doctor. There was one that I saw that really, really made me feel sad. And it was a woman who lives alone. She'd been working for this practice for 18 years. She's very isolated. She's getting depressed. And she hasn't heard from her doctor one time in the entire, since she got the email saying, don't come into work, she hasn't heard from her doctor one time. And she was sad about it, and then her post was long, and the longer she went, the madder she got, ending in expletives and all caps, and it really made me feel bad that was happening to that person. On the other side, I see doctors not knowing what to say. I don't have the answers, so I don't want to communicate with anybody because I don't have the answers. I don't know what's going to happen. And if you think about, we don't know what the shutdown length is going to be. We don't know what our financial support from these loans is going to be. We don't know what the PPE requirements are going to be. We don't know. There's so many things that we don't know that I think some of us get paralyzed by that and don't communicate at all.
You're so right. I think the key is Mark Cuban had a very interesting thought on this recently about how we treat our team members at this point is going to determine how successfully we overcome this crisis.
Yeah.
And Mark Cuban's got, every once in a while he'll have something so insightful, and it really resonated with me because we've got to make sure as leaders, and we've talked about this before in our other seminars, is we've got to make sure that we rise up to the occasion as dentists, and make sure that our team feels safe, that hey, we are here, we're working through this stuff, and I think even if you're not able to pay them, they're on unemployment, and there is some problems with that too. They're going to understand that you did the best you could, and they're going to be even more loyal to you when they come back. And you're going to need them, right? You're going to need them.
That's for sure.
Potentially work extra hours on weekends, and because of the pent up demand that's going to come in. So even from a selfish perspective, it's a good idea. From a selfless perspective, obviously you should be there for your people. No, great. But as you said earlier, was what do you say, right? Sometimes you don't even know how to start a conversation with your team member. And let's say you're one of those dentists who are just hunkering down. I don't know what to say. I want to say something to them, but it's all bad news.
Yeah.
So how do you start the conversation?
I've got a pretty simple template that I think anybody can use to communicate with your team. The method of communication, I think, matters maybe less than communicating something. Obviously, the very best is a personal one-to-one phone call. Some of you may be in practices where that's impractical to pull off, and so sending a message, I send a video message to our dental practices twice a week. I just recorded a very simple video, and I have basically the same formula I use every time. The first part of the message is, I care about you. I hope you're all doing okay. So, in our case, we furloughed our employees, so they did have to apply for unemployment, which was a real difficult challenge. So I always try to empathize with the fact that was a really, bad experience for all of them. Most of them hadn't done it before, and those that had done it before didn't do it at a time when there was this volume of people going up, and they did it at a time when the systems were built to work. The systems were never built for this volume. So it was a very frustrating experience. And then I go into what I call the brutal reality, is here's the facts that we know. Here are the things that we don't know. And then what I'm doing to learn those things, or what we're waiting for, so I'm pretty comfortable talking about the things that we don't know. Because I think that if you ignore that, people have question marks. And when people have question marks in their head, they tend to fill it with the thing that they fear, not the thing that's most likely. And so to try to ratchet down some of the anxiety that our team is having, I want to make sure that they understand that I cover everything that I can think of to cover. The next thing I go through is what the current plan is, right? So our practices are in the state of Oklahoma. State of Oklahoma says April 30th is the end of the shutdown date. And so I say April 30th is the stated date now. I tell them that's probably going to change. It's probably going to be extended out from that. How long, I don't know. We'll be ready on April 30th if that should be the date, but it's probably going to be extended out from that. And the next, I just give them some confidence. We're going to get through this. We all stick together. If we prepare ourselves mentally and physically so that when we come back to work, we can really have an amazing patient experience. We're going to get through this, and it's going to be a bump. It's going to be a great story that we'll be able to tell, our grandkids. This is probably the biggest thing that's happened in our country in the lifetime of almost everybody that's alive, right? This is a huge thing. Right. And we'll be able to talk about it. It'll be a story. We'll laugh about all the silly things that we did while we're quarantined. I try to bring a little bit of humor and a little bit of lightness to it. And then I end by telling them I care so much about them. I appreciate everything they're doing. And then I tell them when the next update's going to be, so that they know that there's going to be regular updates. So if they have questions, they can send them to me. They all have my cell phone number, so they can call me anytime. I reiterate that. And I have had zero calls. Because I think I'm getting to them the information that they want and the information that they need, and giving them a little comfort and a little confidence.
No, we've seen a whole bunch of our clients in group practices just get on a weekly Zoom call with the executive team, with office managers, and kind of give them the status. And as you said, first asking, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you healthy? Is everybody okay? I think that itself puts everybody in it immediately builds that hey, somebody cares about me. These people, even when things go wrong, this is, I'm so proud to work for this practice, which actually checks on me every week, and so it's I agree with that. I think the starting the conversation is just start with how you're doing, and then kind of go through those steps.
Yeah.
In terms of sharing, right? Do you recommend, do you tell them that, hey, we're applied for this PPP loan, or we're doing this? Is how much do you share to not freak out too much, but at the same time, have it not be too much sharing?
Yeah. So we're an open book company. So our team leaders, our doctors, they have access to our financial statements. So we're an open book company. So there's no reason not to tell anybody, because they're going to know, they're going to see it when it happens. So we have explained all the things that we're doing, the things that we're taking advantage of. We explained to them when we decided to furlough. We explained to them, how we made that decision, what the options were, why we thought it was the best option for our employees. Maybe not the best option for our ownership team, but it was the best option for them, and we wanted to make this whole crisis experience as easy for them as we possibly could.
I mean, and I think that's I like that a lot, because sometimes when they understand the reality, they are better able to accept it. Some general idea about how things are wrong. I mean, obviously in this time period, everybody wants to understand, and they want normalcy to return back. And I think sharing some of that stuff, makes you a little vulnerable, and people appreciate that. I think people.
We also early on, Amol, we laid out our decision matrix. How we were going to make decisions. So number one, we wanted to ensure team and patient safety. So that was number one. We were going to, if we failed on all the other things, this was the one thing that we were going to stick with. So number two, I wanted to make sure everybody understood that we have a legal and moral and ethical obligation to take care of the emergencies of our patients, right? That's not a choice. So that was number two. Number three was survival of the business, so that everyone had a job to come back to. Number four was be as generous with the team as we possibly could, but not to endanger the business in doing that, but have it be high on our list. And then, fifth was making sure that we're being prepared, that when it's time to come back, that we're going to be ready and everything's going to be in line, so that we can have safety for everybody. So that we laid out that decision matrix very early. And so every time we were able to tell people about a decision that was made, we put it back to our core values, and we put it back to our decision matrix. And I think we connected the dots so that it made sense to everybody.
That makes a lot of sense. I love that, the decision matrix. I think it's a great 5-step process to kind of keep ourselves calibrated during this time, and know how to make decisions, again, based on core values and mission as well. It is an emotional time for all of us. I mean, I get on these videos every day, and I'm optimistic about what and I think there's good reason to be optimistic, but it still is emotional. And people are going through emotions related to being home. A lot of them are extroverts, so they like seeing patients. So how do we? I mean, first of all, we've got to handle ourselves and take care of ourselves, and then we've got to also. We're not therapists either in dealing with the emotions of our team members. They may be anger, they may be fear, they may be all sorts of stuff. So what have you seen done in terms of self-regulation, as well as helping our team members regulate?
So I think, before we communicate with the team, we have to get our head in the right spot. And my belief is, if you think that you're going to come out of this crisis and you're going to open your practice and it's going to be filled with patients and you're going to be right on track, maybe you won't hit your 2020 goals, but you'll be on track for where you would have been, in right away.
Right.
So if you have that going on in your head, you come to your team with a different response than if you think, oh, this sucks, and no, patients aren't going to buy any treatment, and we're going to be sitting around and going to be losing money even after we open, and it's going to be terrible. And if that's where your head is, you need to work on yourself first.
Right.
To really, and two things that I think always help people get in the right headspace. Number one is to think of things they're grateful for, and second is who are they going to help? Because when we're doing something to help others,
Right.
It's very difficult for us to be in that spot where we feel sorry for ourselves. And so those would be two actions I might take if you're stuck in that bad place. Because I completely believe that if you think you're going to be doing great, you are. And if you think you're going to be doing awful, you probably are.
Right.
So going to the team, I think number one is really have that optimistic viewpoint that at some point, we're going to get back to normal. Don't watch the news. Don't hear everybody talk about this new normal. No, things are going to get back to normal. It's going to be normal again. This isn't going to last 18 months like you hear the experts talk about. You got to put some of that aside and say, that's not reality. They're just trying to create fear. They're trying to do it so people socially distance. I get it. But people need to hear that that's not the reality for them, right? For them, their
Right.
job's going to come back. They're going to be able to care for patients again. They're going to be able to connect with people again. And the connections between people and dental offices are so close
Right.
that everybody's missing it. And so
Right.
I think, just acknowledging that and giving people some way to express their feelings. They have these pent up feelings, and just having a way to talk about it. I think that's the best thing that we can do as leaders.
Right. I think some people just want to talk. I mean, and that's what they're missing right now is they feel lonely and there's no way to express that except on Facebook.
Right.
So sometimes,
And for some people, if they're feeling angry and they don't express it, that feeling makes them be even more angry, right? And it becomes this thing that builds up and up and up. The sooner that you can get people to talk about their concerns and their fears and their things that they're upset about, I think the better off we'll all be as we come back together.
what resources are you recommending, obviously, for team members and even doctors to go to right now? Anything, obviously, what are you doing in terms of getting this message out?
So we're doing a bunch of stuff to get the message out. My partner Wendy and I, and my partners Heather and Drew, we're holding different kind of town hall type meetings. The one that's most accessible to everybody is Facebook Live. So if you go to the Facebook group Team Training Institute, Wendy Briggs and I do an update Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Those are at 4 p.m. Eastern time. They are really well attended, and there's really great information to keep everybody updated on everything that's going on. Today is the 10th of April, and today is going to be an update on the latest information on personal protective equipment. So we're going to be talking about what that looks like when we come back. How do we make sure that our patients are safe? How do we make sure that our team is safe? How do we make sure that we're safe?
Right.
And so we're going to be talking about that today. So that's a really good resource. We also have a book for those people that are really starting to gear up. And how am I going to be? We're going to have to be on our game when we come back.
Right.
Right? Because there's going to be some drag. So we're going to have to be on our game. If you want to prepare for that, Wendy and I wrote a book, The Ultimate Guide to Doubling or Tripling Your Practice Production. And you can get that book for free. You can go to drjohnsfreebook.com.
Oh.
All you got to do is pay the postage, and we'll send you the book for free. We sent out 135 of them yesterday. So.
Oh my God, how many books do you have? Because we really need to get this message out.
Yeah. Oh, we got plenty of books. Yeah, we won't run out.
Okay.
We won't run out. We have plenty of books, and so that's something that people can do. The book's really easy to read. It's just 5 simple principles to apply to your practice to become more productive. So those are some things that I can do. I know that there are lots of groups that are doing at-home body weight exercise things, because I think keeping your body moving helps your mind keep moving.
Right.
There's lots of things online with that, so that's another thing. And then there's a meditation app that is available.
And there's Headspace. There's a bunch of
Headspace.
them.
Yeah,
Headspace.
it's Headspace.
Oh, that's great.
So if you Google Headspace healthcare worker, they are allowing healthcare workers to have that for free during this crisis. So if you Google that, you can go to the Headspace app, and for healthcare workers, it's free, and it's a wonderful app. And so meditation is another thing that helps clear your mind, helps reduce your anxiety, it helps you think better.
Right.
So those are some resources that I'm using.
Well, fantastic. And I'm sure you are. Obviously, we're putting up a lot of stuff on Patient Prism Academy.
Absolutely.
Part of
fantastic stuff too.
All our stuff is on there. I'm going to leave the resources on the screen here for people to look at, your URL to your book as well. For people to order the book, might as well just pay the shipping and sharpen your tools while you have the time.
Yep.
Dr. John, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us and our audience. We're getting more and more people watching these videos and every single week, every single day. And
you do a really great job. Your team does such a great job of putting it all together and keeping everything organized, and they're just so good, Amol. I'm so pleased to be included.
No, they are. I mean, I couldn't have done it. Everybody says, "Oh my God, Amol, great stuff," and it's really my team they just put me in front of the stuff. They send me what questions to ask you, and it's very easy for me to do this when you have a backbone that really is doing whatever they can to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our industry, which is helping them in these times. And we can't wait to come out of this in a few months and see this back up and running and flourishing. So thank you again for joining me today, and we'll continue the discussion sometime next week about another topic.
Sounds great. I'm always great to be with you. Thank you so much.